Happy Easter, everyone. I love this time of year. It's great. For those of you that I haven't had the opportunity to meet yet, my name is Michael, and I am the teaching and discipleship pastor here at Cedarbrook. And I do love Easter. I love this time of year. It really is my favorite. I love everything about it. I love the season that it starts in. Like, we get this new life, things coming up from the ground and buds starting to show up on the trees. It's wonderful. I also love the Easter candy. It's delicious. I don't know what it is about this time of year. It's just so good. But what I love most about Easter is that the entire storyline of the Bible is leading to this day. This is what it's all about. It's not about leading us to death and decay. It is all about the resurrection of Jesus and the new life. And this story about it is so amazing. I can't wait to share it with you, so I'm going to jump right in. Listen to the story of Jesus' resurrection. After the Sabbath, at dawn on the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to look at the tomb. There was a violent earthquake, for an angel of the Lord came down from heaven and, going to the tomb, rolled back the stone and sat on it. His appearance was like lightning, and his clothes were white as snow. The guards were so afraid of him that they shook and became like dead men. The angel said to the women, "Do not be afraid, for I know that you are looking for Jesus who was crucified. He is not here. He has risen just as he said. Come and see the place where he lay. Then go quickly and tell his disciples, he has risen from the dead and is going ahead of you into Galilee. There you will see him. Now I have told you." So the women hurried away from the tomb, afraid and yet filled with joy, and ran to tell his disciples. Suddenly Jesus met them. "Greetings," he said. They came to him, clasped at his feet, and worshiped him. I mean, can you imagine that day? You had just seen this one that you had put all of your hope in be crucified and killed. And now you see him alive again. And it's been told to you that that's what's going to happen, that he's going to come back to life. I mean, that's unbelievable. And it has a huge impact for them, don't you think? If you were there in that garden, you saw Jesus alive, it would change everything about your life. And that's great for people 2,000 years ago. They got to witness Jesus alive. And well, what does it mean for us today? What difference does the resurrection of Jesus have for you and for me here today, on this very day? See, this story is not just some fairy tale that has a happy ending. This is a real historical event. In fact, it's not just a historical event, it's the whole purpose that Jesus said that he came. He said that he came that they may have life and have life to the full, to have full life, to have all the life that God intended for us to have from the very beginning. In fact, the resurrection of Jesus is proof that Jesus is the only one that can give us this life. Not only did he predict that he was going to be killed and then rise 3 days later, but he pulled it off. He accomplished it. He is the only one that is capable of giving us this full life. And it is through this resurrection that we experience that we even have hope for it. And that's exactly how his first followers understood it. They made the connection for how he was the one, and through his resurrection, to give them life. Wrong page. Praise be to God the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. In his great mercy, he has given us a new birth into a living hope through the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead. How can we have this new life and this living hope? It is only through what Jesus accomplished. It was only through his resurrection. Now, I could stand up here and try to convince you of that for the next 30 minutes, but I've got something better for you. This isn't just some kind of story that I need to convince you of. No, there's still real people experiencing the real power of Jesus' resurrection and entering into that new life to this very day. And I have 4 friends that I want you to hear their story of their new life because of Jesus' resurrection. Let's watch.
Just introduce yourself, your full name.
Full name. My name is Jeremy DeGrosse.
My name is Pat Gendron. Pat Gendron.
I'm Nicole. I usually go by Nikki.
Hi, my name is Julius McRoberts.
What was your life like before meeting Jesus?
Oh, that's a deep one.
My life like before meeting Jesus was good.
My life before Jesus, it was like a mess.
Chaotic. My life was chaos before Christ.
When I was in high school, I really struggled with depression and anxiety, and I was in a very dark spot in my life.
It was a lot of me working really hard, and by working really hard, I can get what I want, and I can get my goals, and I can achieve the dreams that I want to get.
Well, I reached to a point in life where I figured out my goals were so far, and being surrounded by plenty of people that says, oh, life is hard, sometimes not worth trying. Eventually, all those words and sentences got to my head, and by seeing how happy people were by going out drinking, smoking, and having a good time, I mentally told myself that was the joy of the world.
I started using meth in one form or another when I was 15.
And how long were you addicted to meth?
Until 5 years ago. So 25 years. Long time.
I couldn't be happy. I genuinely couldn't find joy into what I was doing. I always felt sad, and I always felt that dark feeling of just not being enough.
I thought I was doing great. I thought I was doing perfect, to be honest. I've done a lot of things where it came from nothing.
When I first started it, I thought it was fun. But after a while, I actually started getting more depressed from drinking and smoking and lusting over women. And I would constantly ask myself, what am I doing with myself? What am I doing with my life? I know I got better purpose than this.
I figured my whole life was just gonna be drugs for the rest until I died. I didn't even expect to be living more than 10 years, 5 years. I wasn't too worried about it, to be honest with you.
Did you think your life was full before Jesus?
I thought it was. Is that bad?
Yes, I actually thought I was living peak life. I thought that was all to life that there was. Smoking, drinking, going to work, and, sulking for the rest of my life. I thought that was a pretty good thing. I knew that, when I started getting depression, I relied on the drinking and smoking to fill me up, and for a while it did.
But it didn't last?
No.
I was successful financially. I was doing good. I had made a career out of nothing. I was able to work 4 different jobs at the same time, and I could juggle all of it perfectly. And honestly, I couldn't ask for any other best scenario than that. I was stable financially. My work was good. And the good thing is that I had built this entire thing on my own.
I always felt empty. I always felt alone, even though I had many people that cared for me. And I felt a little bit lost.
I always felt like there was something missing in my life, and I didn't know my dad when I was younger. I met him when I was 18. I thought that was going to be it. That was not it. It just made it worse. Realized what he really was. That was worse. And then, I always had a hole. Just something wasn't right in my life.
So tell me a little bit about how you met Jesus.
I met Jesus because of my wife. I met Lexi in Atlanta, Georgia, where I was studying chiropractic then. And Lexi had this church that she would go to all the time. She would go to Passion City Church in Atlanta, Georgia. She'd go there with her friends. And to be honest, it didn't make much sense to me, but I didn't care much. I like Lexi, so I did what she wanted to, which was bring her to church. But bringing her to church did not mean I had to go into church, so I didn't do that. I would drop her off at church and wait in the parking lot.
It was my boyfriend at the time, my now husband. He started to feel like, the love and kind of like woken up in a way, and he was just like trying to express this joy that he felt from Jesus and stuff, and he was like, you gotta get with God. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Because like I knew about God, but I was like, I didn't understand that like it was like a relationship with him, it was a connection. And I was just like, well, I believe he's real, but like, what are you talking about? Like, I thought he was crazy.
I got a call from the bank, being in school. I had to pay for schooling, and I could not afford school anymore. When that happened, I started making a lot of calls, trying to figure out how I could do this. I talked to a bunch of places. I did what I always do, which is trying to figure it out and put my head down and put the work. And unfortunately, every call I would make or every person I would talk to would come back to saying that they couldn't help me. That did not stop me. I just tried even harder until I could figure something out. Up until the deadline of when I had to pay for tuition, which was Monday. And of course, Lexi was asking me to be able to go to church, and bad timing. I had bigger concern than having to go see what I used to call back then her imaginary friend.
So I was addicted to meth for 25 years, and I was homeless. I used to get stuff from the Hope Gospel dumpster here in town, and just one day this lady stopped and asked me, what are you doing at the dumpster? I told her that I'm homeless. I'm a drug addict. And it's not something you usually tell, you know what I mean? It's not something you usually tell a lady, but just something told me I need to tell her.
After making a few calls, nothing happened, and I decided to go get Lexi in church. And as I walk into church, there's these people, obviously, just saying hi and good morning, and I'm so glad you're here. And that's like the last thing I want to hear because I'm angry and I got something to do, and I'm trying to get Lexi out of church because there's bigger task at hand here. There's something serious actually happening over than just singing Kumbaya, I guess,
I was just really down in the dumps, and my boyfriend at the time told me, like, I'm gonna let you pray. Like, I'm going to give you a second to just pray. And I did. I was very emotional, and I was just, rambling on. I was just like, at first I didn't want to, but I just was like, okay, I'll do it.
Everything started coming on to me, and I was like, what am I doing? I wasn't raised like this. Mama didn't raise me to be some street pleaser, and after that I started crying while driving, which isn't safe. My eyes were bulged with tears, and eventually I had to pull over because it got bad.
The sermon starts to happen, and the pastors start to talk, and I'm like, no, I really can't get Lexi out of here. It'd be really awkward to cause a scene and bring Lexi out. So I'm like, fine, and I'm like, I can't believe I got dragged into this. I don't even know why I'm here in the first place. Like, I just want to get Lexi out. And as the pastor keeps talking, he talks about letting go, and sometimes you let go and you have this closed fist still going on, and he says you got to let go and extend your hand and let go and let Jesus be able to do it. And the sermon kept going on, and he kept poking more at it. Felt like he was just talking to me. The room got all quiet, and it felt like he was just having a conversation with me. Now the more that I think about it, it felt like Jesus was having a conversation with me, and it felt like it was just for me.
And I told her why I was there and what I was doing, and she just asked if she could pray for me, and I said, sure, go ahead and pray for me. I just figured she was gonna leave, go home and pray for me. She didn't. She just prayed for me right there, and at that moment, it's something just washed over me, and it just changed my life. At that very moment, it changed my life, and it's kept changing it ever since.
And I just let it all out, and after I calmed down a little bit, I heard, "You are strong, my child." And I just started bawling my eyes out even more, because those are like one of the biggest words that I wanted to hear for so long, because I didn't feel strong. I felt weak, and I struggled a lot. And it hit me in a way that, like, just hearing that from someone randomly, like, you would have to know me to actually, like, get the words.
I felt a strange peace overwhelm me, and I questioned it. Like, at the time I didn't know. I was like, what is this peace, and I just started driving and I was questioning it the whole time. And that night I immediately went to bed, and the next morning I heard a voice in my head that says, open the Bible. And I looked for a second and I was like, is that me talking? No, it's not me. And then I heard it again, open the Bible. So I went to my Bible and I opened the book, and my hands flipped to Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And that verse was my favorite verse as a kid. And I knew then that God was there, because when that verse stuck out to me, it pretty much told me that with Christ, I am able to overcome the things that I think that are hard to beat.
So I decided to give Jesus a try, just because nothing else was working, and all the things that I was trying previously wasn't working anymore. And Lexi and this entire room seemed pretty convinced, so I'm like, I'll try it, and worst case scenario, I'll be able to go back to saying that Lexi is an imaginary friend and this is a waste of time. And I did, and on Monday, I woke up, and for some reason, I had the exact amount of money I needed to be able to pay my tuition.
So how is your life different now because of Jesus?
Everything changed. My outlook on life, my outlook on people, the kind of people I associate with, just how I live life, the quality of life, that's major. The quality of life is just amazing.
He's definitely changed a lot. Like, whenever I get a chance to tell someone about how God took me out of my depression, like, I am more than willing to tell them the story, because I never thought I'd be this happy. I never thought that I would wake up not wanting to, have some life event happen to me to where I wouldn't have to take my own life. And just waking up every morning, I think about it and I'm like, little kid me would never think that this would be a thing.
It just came to like the thing of like, I realized that like, okay, well, this letting go thing helped a little bit. This trusting Jesus helped a little bit. So the more and more I kind of let Jesus in, and by letting Jesus in required me to let go of my old ways of trying things on my own, the more he would show up to me.
And after a week, I started seeing a big difference to myself. I started smiling more. I could feel like the weight of the world coming off my shoulders slowly. And now I feel pretty good. Every day I walk with a smile on my face, or at least try to. Life is rough, but I know God is always going to be there for me. And that's the part that matters the most.
Life is still hard, man. It's a hard thing, but my worst day now, I wouldn't give up for my best day then. It's just better. With God's light over you, anything's possible, and it's always better.
I feel like Jesus really helped me, like, find myself, and also, like, bring joy into my life, and actually help me be happy and enjoy living.
He has me. I don't have to worry about that. He's in control of that, and I realize I was never in control of that.
You're content living that way?
I'm definitely content living that way. It's significantly easier.
I think once you actually know Jesus, I know how real he is, that hole goes away. I don't have that hole anymore. It's like all the people he's brought into my life, the situation, just the way my life is now, can't ask for anything more.
So what would you say to someone who's watching right now who doesn't know Jesus yet?
I would just tell them to let go. Like stop trying on your own, just like the message was for me, is let go and let Jesus a try.
There's so much we want to share and everything, because it's like the light and everything that he has brought in us brings so much joy.
Try to live as close as you can to Jesus. And even if you're not good at it, like I'm not good at it. I am not a pro Jesus follower, but I, compared to what I was, it's holy buckets night and day.
You're never too far from God, and don't ever think you're too far from God, because where I was and where I am now, you're never too far from him.
I don't know if I would have listened to everybody or anybody at all, or any words that would come up to me and be like, hey, like, this is what I need to hear. Now I'm gonna let go of what's going on in my life and all these successes that I have for Jesus. But all I have to say is that, like, it can be so much easier, and whatever you're going through right now, it can be way better, 100 times.
It's just better. Everything's better. I don't even know how to say it. Like, I've not found one thing that's worse now.
He could take your stresses. He could take your anger. He could take your worries and your burdens and all that. You just got to give it to him.
It won't happen in an instant like everybody kind of wants. But over time, before you know it, he'll change your life.
Life will get hard, and I cannot imagine going through life, something that is hard, without having Jesus by my side.
I don't know why anybody would want to do anything else. I guess after coming where I come from, I couldn't imagine not having Jesus in my life.
As of right now, I know that Jesus has definitely changed me for the better, and I 100% recommend you guys give him a shot. Trust me, it's worth it.
What I would say to somebody who doesn't know Jesus yet, I would say you're missing out on the best life you could ever live. And as soon as you feel Jesus in your life, you'll never want him out of it. That's what I would say.
Those are real people that have experienced the real power of the resurrection of Jesus today, like in our own age. They are living this full life that only Jesus can give. Are you? Are you living that full life? I feel like sometimes there's a disconnect with this as we talk about Easter and the resurrection and things like that. We have in our mind that, you know what, if I just believe in this resurrection, then that means that someday I can be with Jesus when I die, which is amazing, right? I love thinking about that. But is that really what it's all about? Jesus' resurrection isn't just someday, but it's also for today, right now, right where you are. Everything that has led to this moment for you to experience the full life that only Jesus can offer. So, are you experiencing that full life? Because sometimes I wonder how this life really is for us. That sometimes we just think, well, you know what, I believe in God, but why am I not experiencing that full life like they are? Well, here's the thing. It's really easy to believe in God. In fact, there's many people that believe in God, but very few that are fully experiencing this life with Jesus. And Jesus didn't die and be raised 3 days later for a few people to experience this full life. He did it for all people. That means you, and that means me. That we can have a fuller life than the life that we can provide for ourselves. I know you're capable people. You work really hard. You have great achievements. Your career is going good. You've got good friends and you've got a good family. Is this the best that life has to offer? And yet you're missing out. And that full life of Jesus. I also know that there are people here that really know that they're missing out on that life. They have this emptiness inside of them that they've been carrying around as long as they can remember. And you're filling it with all kinds of things that don't really last. You're filling it with binge shopping because buying that new thing just feels good for a while, but then it's gone because that hole inside you, that emptiness is just too deep. You've tried to pass the time by just binge watching and binge scrolling on things just to ignore that emptiness that's there. You binge drink or binge fill in the blank to numb the pain. You know that that is not the full life that you even want for yourself. Jesus' resurrection is the only way for us to experience that full life in him. And today can be your day to step into that new life, to step out of the dead-end life that you've created for yourself or you feel you've been handed, and experience that full life of Jesus. You were brought to this place at this moment to hear this message and listen to those testimonies, not just to leave these doors and go like, well, I'll make the best of it. But it's for you to experience that full life that God intended for you to have from the very, very beginning that only Jesus can bring. You may be even thinking about that. You might even be resistant to it, like, no, that's nearly not me. I can handle it. And you got to let go of that control of your life and the life that you think you can provide for yourself to feel and experience that full life. Maybe you're sitting there praying, like, yes, somebody finally has addressed this emptiness inside, this dark weight that just weighs me down every single day. It's your day to invite Jesus into that and fill it. Now, how do we do that? How can we step into this new life and have that emptiness filled and to be able to let go of control knowing that someone else has this better life, this more full life for us? How do we go about doing that? Well, we have planned it out perfectly. We have something for you to engage in. We're going to close with our final song. And this song is all about us being resurrected with Jesus into this new life. It is all about us coming out of a metaphorical tomb, a metaphorical grave, with Jesus on Easter Sunday to experience that full and that new life in him and begin living in this new hope of that full life. And the way that you can declare that the way that you can step into that is by singing one of the lines in the song. The line in the song I want you to pay attention to, it says, "And I ran out of that grave." Do you get the imagery? I ran out of the grave into this new life with Jesus. And when you say it, you're declaring, yes, today is the day that I'm entering into this new life. I'm going to live by the power of the resurrection. I'm going to give my entire life to Jesus. I'm not just going to believe in God. I'm going to fully follow Jesus because he has the full life for me. And today is the day to start that. And if you're a good singer, awesome. Belt it out. I ran out of the grave as loud as your vocal cords can handle it, all right? Give it all that you got. And if you're like me and you're not a good singer, today's our day, people, right? It don't matter. It doesn't matter about the quality of our voice. It matters about what we're saying. That today's the day that we are running out of that grave with Jesus, resurrected in him, into this new life and living life to the fullest. So I invite you right now to stand with me as we sing this song and shout it out as loud as you can.